afternoon in with a real quick dinner. As I said, I would make myself more visual into my videos. This is a really quick tutorial. This is your girl Cooking with Steph, and today I will be making some center cut thin chops. I will be making some cabbage. I will be making some roasted potatoes, and I am going to do this really quickly. Okay? So if you miss anything in the video, just know that you can go back and always hit that replay button. Let me go ahead and gather my spices that I will be using to season my chops. I kind of like the Cajun style a lot better than I do the Slap Your Mama. They're both great. However, I am looking for my Italian seasoning and my parsley. Okay? So let's get started. First things first. Let me go ahead on and get this skillet hot. I do have the oven on. It's preheated to 350. So I'm going to go ahead on and I am going to get my cast iron ready. For some reason, it's just a part of my beans. I rinse everything off. I rinse everything off. And when you have cast iron, you want to be really careful with how you upkeep your cast iron. If you can notice, I rinsed my cast iron, and do you see that it is still sliding? You have to oil your cast iron immediately after each use before you restore it, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and let that get hot. While that's getting hot, I am going to go ahead and wash and season these chops. Okay? So right now, I'll bring you over here with me. I am going to go ahead and wash and season my chops. Then grab my bag that I will be using to dust them with a little flour. How's everyone's day going? As a rule, I always start my dishwater as I start cooking. So let's just go ahead on and rinse these chops off really well. And you'll be surprised at what comes off of your meat when you're washing it. I hear a lot of people say, oh, I don't wash my meat. You take the flavor of the tenderizer or whatever you may have off of it. Baby, I come from a family where we wash everything before we use it. And living in these times that we're living in now, you really have to be even more careful. Okay? So I wash my chops off really well. Go ahead on and lay those chops here. And I got the thin cut this time. I have that cast iron there being hot. Let me get back over here and tend to it. Get some oil in it. It's already hot, cleaned, and seasoned. I always go back over my sink and rinse and clean. And when I get this meat out of the way, I will be going in to spray and sanitize my sink. Okay. So let me wash my hands really quick. And then we're going to hop back over here really quick to this cast iron. She's hot. And then I'm just going to simply take and drain the excess water off before I season. Drain that excess water off before we season. We want to spread those apart to where each one will be able to be seasoned. Okay, so that's why we don't want them on top of each other. We want each one to be able to be seasoned. Right over there. As a rule, I go ahead and I start my dishwater. I didn't realize that top was off. Good thing I didn't allow that water to get in there. That water is, let's let it get hot. Like I like it. If it ain't hot, I don't want it. Okay, that water is hot enough to go ahead on and start. And let's go ahead and get to this stove. Let's get this oil in this skillet. And I'm going in with some vegetable oil. Not going to use much. Just enough to give my chops a good fry. Going to turn that water off. We're going to drain again, just to make sure we have all of that water off. Okay? And I'm going to season. Let me go ahead and grab my Ziploc that I will be using. So those are the smaller ones. Let's see if I have. They put everything way to the back like I can reach them. Okay, so we're going to use this one. I'll remove the smaller ones. And we're going to get this bag and we're going to sit that to the side. You'll see why later. All right, let's get these chops seasoned. They're thin cut, so we're going to season these lightly. I just don't like when I use a fork and I sit it down on anything. I need to have a tray, something that I can sit it down on without having to let it touch my counter space. That's my element. Okay, let's season these chops. That oven is preheated. That oil is warming up. So I went in with a little Lawry's. I'm going in with a little onion powder. I'm over here seasoning up these chops. I went in with a little Lawry's. I'm going in with a little bit of onion powder. I'm going in with a little garlic powder. And I like to get my garlic powder into the fatty part of the chop. So you have that great flavor when you're biting into that bone where that little bit of meat be at. Baby. Now that came out a little heavy. And that is just slap your mama. Alright, I'm going in with a little of black pepper. Going in with some paprika. And we're going to get ready to dump those in that hot fresh grease when it's ready. I use the paprika because I like the browning that I get from it. Okay? So that's about it that I need for my chops. Okay? Let's go ahead and get our bag ready for our chops. Okay? If you want to come over here with me, I have here my cabbage. I have here my potatoes. Now I know I have some flour. And again, it would be all the way to the top of the cabinet. Okay, so let me go ahead and get my flour ready to go into my bag. I'm gonna bring you over here with these chops and just allow you to see how I have flavored and seasoned those chops. So I need to get into some flour. That's that black pepper. That's that black pepper. And the seasoning on the top of that chop will also be what season it from the bottom. Okay? So you don't need to season both sides, because you have enough seasoning there to simply just go ahead on and take your fork and move that fork and move that meat around for the seasoning that's at the bottom of this tray. Okay? And it's enough at the bottom of that tray to go ahead. If you see some spots that's really like, hello, did you miss me? I'm gonna go ahead and hit that in with just a little garlic. All the ends that were covered, I'm just going to go ahead and hit those tips with some garlic. Okay? Let me go ahead on and get my flour into my bag. Don't need much, because I'm just going to lightly dust these with a little flour. So I have about that much. Don't need much. See if I can get that back up there. Okay. So we have our bag ready. Let's go ahead and get these chops into this bag. Okay. So I have my chops. Remember, we're utilizing the seasoning that we have on the pan for the bottom of those chops, because the other side of this chop is not seasoned as I did the first side. Okay? You can see the difference. However, on the bottom of this skillet is where the remaining of the seasonings are. And we're just going to go ahead and use that. We don't want our meat to be too salty, especially with these being thin cut chops. Okay? Not quite going to put those seasonings back yet, because I have my potatoes yet to season, and we're going to make this cabbage. Now that I have my bag sealed really well, and it's, once I get it into this skillet, so at this point you're just going to simply take your bag, make sure that it's snapped all the way across. Want to make sure that it's snapped all the way across. And you're just going to take that bag and you're going to toss it. You're going to shift that flour from the bottom all the way to the top. And I'm just going to give it one good shake so that they're lightly coated. And we're getting ready to go over here, and we are getting ready to drop those chops into this cast iron skillet that is preheated. All right, girl, come on. I need you to stand up a little bit. We all tired, but we still working. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to bring that fire down from a low on up. While I'm waiting on that fire to get hot, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sanitize and clean my sink. Okay? I'm sanitizing and I am cleaning my sink so I can get ready to do my vegetables. Okay? And that's just it, what I do when I sanitize my sink. I just simply go ahead on and take some dishwater that I have here made. Spray her down real well with some bleach. And we're getting ready to, look like I may need a little more oil for this pan. Going on the weight of the bag, I'm gonna go ahead and give it like mother, about that much. While we're waiting on that to come on up to temperature, I'm going to go ahead and clean my sink out. Then we're gonna hop right into our sides. Okay. You're gonna wipe off your handle of your sink that you turned that water on with to rinse and clean that meat. Okay. Gonna move that. I'm gonna go ahead and put that bleach back. And we're getting ready to rinse, and we're going to drop these chops. Okay. I did say that it wouldn't be a whole lot of talking in this video. I'm gonna need y'all to pay attention, and I'm gonna need for y'all to keep up. If you miss it, you can go back and hit that replay button. I'm grabbing a fresh, clean dish towel, a fresh dish towel, drying up my surface, discarding those 2 towels used. Because at that point, you have used those with meat. Okay? So you're going to change those towels after you clean up your surface. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and test these grease and see if she's ready. She's not ready yet. Not like I want her to be. And she's already on the 3. So I'm gonna go ahead and sit her over here to the side while I work on my potatoes. Okay? That's hot at the end because that oven is preheated. And I know it's going to be just a matter of time, so I'm going to just keep my focus here. Just know that I'm over here and I am slicing up my potatoes. Today I will be using some red potatoes. And as always, I take and I soak my potatoes overnight. So we're getting ready to do these potatoes, and then we're going right on into our other side dish. Okay, let's give this another test and see if we're ready to go to drop these chops. I got down too low. Okay. I'm gonna just sit this towel here, just so I don't make a mess. Let's test this grease. She's good to go. I'm gonna make sure that those chops are coated on both sides. If you pick up your meat and it's sticky, that lets you know that it has not been floured on both sides. Okay, so we're going to continue to make sure that that flour is getting on both sides of the meat. Okay, so I'm going to go from the bottom, making sure that I open those up. We have one that's slightly dusted. Last time I did chops, I believe I smothered them. So today we're gonna just go with some fried chops. And that grease is hot. I can smell it. Let's drop these chops. I think I can get one more in there. I believe I can, and I will. Get one more of those chops in there. Making sure that they all have their own space to cook. That each piece is submerged in that oil. Okay? Let me wash my hands. And we're going to get right into these potatoes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my potatoes. And I'm just going to cut those right on up into the bowl. I am leaving the skin on. Being that those are thin chops and I'm in a cast iron, we're going to keep a good eye on that. And I'm just over here, let me bring you with me. I'm just over here cutting up my potatoes. And these are red, just simply red potatoes. And I am utilizing the skin. That's where our nutrients and our value of potato and vegetable is in the skin. Okay? Those chops are frying. I'm going to turn that fire down just a little bit. Y'all see these red potatoes? Just slicing them. And you can slice them as thin, as thick as you like. The thinner, the better, because it's quicker on the cook time. Okay? So I'm not going to do a whole bunch. I'm going to do maybe one or two more potatoes, and that will be it. How many do I have more left in here? Well, I only have one or two left, so I might just go ahead and get them done. Leftovers are always good. You can always do something with potatoes. I need to get back over here to my stove and turn my chops over. Okay, I have 2 potatoes left. I'm just going to go ahead and use one. We have more than enough already. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead because I need to get to that chop. Real fast, real quick. Okay, let's go ahead and pour that water off. Pouring that water off, we're pouring all that starch off. All right. Keeping an eye on those chops. Those chops are cooking. Just cleaning and rinsing these potatoes really well. Then we're going to get those onto the cookie sheet. And we're going to go ahead on with the next step, and we're going to get these potatoes in the oven. And I am going to cook these potatoes on a 450 degrees until they're golden. I know I have that there. Take your time, sugar. Okay, I have these potatoes ready. They're nice, rinsed, and clean. Let's get back over here to these potatoes. I have these potatoes nice, rinsed, and clean. I guess I could straighten you up, huh? Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead on and simply take these potatoes, toss them, and get all that excess water off. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead on and simply take these potatoes while in the bowl, and I'm going to hit them with some OVV oil. Kind of heavy. Okay, kind of heavy. Then I'm going to hit those potatoes with some Italian herbs. I'm going to give those a good shake. Going in with some garlic powder, some onion powder, some black pepper, and I'm going in with just a little of paprika. Remember, paprika is a great browner. Let's check on these chops. Let's check on these chops. Let's check this one. I'm going to flip you, baby. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm going to flip you, too. How you doing? How you doing? Okay, those chops are frying really nicely. Okay, so I have my seasoning on my potatoes. I am just going to go ahead on, and we're going to get back over here, so we are going to get these potatoes in the oven. Okay, so I have these potatoes nice and seasoned. I'm going to give those a good toss. Before I give those a toss, yes, I'm going in with some ranch dressing, some ranch powder seasoning right on top of those potatoes. Okay? Now we're going to give those a good toss. That's what you want. That oil is allowing all of that flavor to season those potatoes really well. Straight onto the cookie sheet. Straight onto the cookie sheet. And we, of course, we're going to spread those out evenly so that they lay flat. We're going to go ahead and throw those in the oven. Yeah, okay. There we go. We have those potatoes on the cookie sheet. Try to make sure that they're flat. Okay? Going right into the oven that is preheated. Until they're golden and crisp. Until they are golden and crisp. Did I put black pepper on those potatoes? I'm sure not seasoning it. I'm not seasoned, so maybe I didn't. But it's okay. They're still cooking, and you always, at the taste time where you see if they are tender enough, that's when you can go ahead and you can taste it. Okay, move everything over, wiping down. I am not trying to mix up all these dishes. Okay, we are going to go right on in. Let's get back to these chops. We're going to put the next batch of chops in, and we're going to bring those out. I have already washed my cookie sheet that I seasoned those chops up on. She's washed, she's clean. I'm going to bring that handle around, and I'm going to bring that fire up so that it can be hot as well for the next batch. Let's let those chops cook. Those potatoes are cooking. Let's get to this cabbage. I am going to fry some carrots and some cabbage. So let's go ahead on and get that pot on. Let's get it hot. In my cabbage, I have here some bacon grease that I preserve and save. So I'm just going to go in with, don't use that much. I'm only doing one head of cabbage. So that is some bacon grease. Okay, so we're going to allow that bacon grease to get hot. And I'm going to come on over here I believe these chops want to come out, but we're going to continue to let them cook because I want them to be nice and crisp on both sides, yet still juicy. So pay attention to your pot, okay? And I'm getting ready to bring these out and add the last batch in. When you see dark spots on your meat like that, I just simply take that off. I go in, are y'all seeing that? I go in with my fork and I just take that off. I don't want that on my meat. By the time I remove anything, it's time to go ahead on and get these chops out. I'm going to give them a few more minutes. This one is perfect. I'm going to bring her on out. And no, I'm not putting it on a paper towel. I want them to sit in their own natural grease. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring her out. I did turn that fire up because I want that grease to be hot, so when I drop that next batch, the temperature has already adjusted. Okay? Over here, well, it needs to be red. I'm working on my cabbage. Okay. And I'll bring you over here with me with my cabbage in a minute while I'm prepping it. Let me go ahead on and bring these chops on out. Let's bring these chops out. After taking this last one out, I'm going to allow that grease just a minute to come on up. Just to get good and hot for the last batch. Testing it. Not hot as I want it. It's hot enough. And she goes. Okay, so I only have 2 left. And I'm done with that. We can just crumble this on up. Dispose of it. Once those chops begin to cook really well, I'm going to just go ahead and turn that fire down on it. And I see that a piece of the hip is hanging on to, she hanging on, girl. Unfortunately, sweetheart, I'm going to have to move you so that you can cook independently. So don't be mad at the girl. I need to move you so that you can cook independently. And as I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring that fire back down to a 3 because I want it to cook through and through. Okay? So moving on to our last main dish. Let's get these. Ooh, I have that fire high. I'm going to turn it down and I'll turn it up. You always have to double back and pay attention. That's what we have to do. Have to pay attention to our pot. Especially when you're trying to get this done really fast. Okay, I'm going to bring you over here to my cutting board. And I am getting ready to work on the cabbage. Can you see that cabbage? Okay, so I'm just going to simply take and cut those tips off. Just cutting the tips of them off. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to get my garlic ready. It wasn't the knife I wanted, the one I grabbed, so we're going with it. Okay? Probably wondering what I have this grater here for, huh? Okay, so I'm just gonna go in with this cabbage with about 4 cloves of fresh garlic. And I am just going to simply go ahead and smash, releasing the natural oil from the garlic. You want to make sure that your hands are dry when doing this so that that knife does not slip. Yeah, those chops are cooking. Okay, I have my red onion ready. I have my garlic ready. Let's go ahead and let's grate this cabbage. Let me have a quick pick over here. Turn those chops. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grate this carrot. Baby, can you put the air on? Gonna grate that carrot. For me, if I go inward, it makes less mess. Okay. Be careful at that point. I don't want to put my hand on that. Okay, so I have my carrot shredded. Turn the fire down on the top so she is ready to go. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get back to this stove and we are getting ready to drop our cabbage. Okay, I will be frying this cabbage. Those chops are still cooking. Getting this various cooks. Everyday skillet. Everything cooks quickly. Nothing ever sticks. I have in here a little of olive oil. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in, before I do that, because I don't want my garlic to burn. Okay, so I'm going to bring that down on low. And let me just go ahead on and cut this cabbage up. Doesn't really matter how you cut your cabbage. Because it's going to steam down in however you decide to cut it. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead keeping an eye on the top. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut my cabbage up. Let me wash this bowl here out so that I could still use this bowl without having to mess up all these dishes. Yes, we use the dishwasher, but it's certain things of mine as far as cookware that I just don't like to go in the dishwasher at all. It has to be hand washed and clean, dried and put up. Okay? Let me grab a towel. cut this cabbage up and get this cabbage on. You know, cabbage doesn't take long at all to cook. Let's get this oil put back. Okay. So far, my ingredients I have for my cabbage. Let's test and see if this skillet is a little warm. It's not warm enough. Here I have shredded carrots, fresh garlic, sweet onion, and I am going to add that into my skillet just as soon as I cut my cabbage. Okay, let's see if I can bring you over here. If I could bring this over here and do this along with you. Can I bring y'all over here? Okay, so just gonna go ahead and find the core. You see a piece that don't look too precious, go ahead at this time and remove it. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this cabbage. Only part I remove from my cabbage is the core itself. Okay? That middle piece. The only piece that I remove from my cabbage. See how tough she is? Remove that core. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and bring those last two chops out. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to slice this cabbage down. She's hot. So while she's hot already, I am just going to simply go ahead and add in my other vegetables, which we already went over, which are the carrots, the garlic, the onion, and the garlic. And you're going to add in about as much vegetable as you have for the amount of cabbage that you're using. Okay? I'm going to slide that over there to the side. And I am going to give this a chance to simmer, saute. See a piece that is a little thick, just go ahead on and slice it. Okay, I absolutely love onions. I'm going to go ahead at this time while this is simmering, and I'm going to add in a little pinch of kosher salt. Bring that fire up. Getting ready to take these last two chops out. One's ready to go and she's still deciding what she wants to do. I'm going to add in just a little more bacon grease because I want to have a chance for my vegetables to saute. And that leftover bacon grease is it. Okay, While that is simmering, let's go ahead and give everything a mix together. Have that fire on the low. Have that fire on a low. Now let me go ahead on and cut and rinse my cabbage. I'm just going to simply take this cabbage and I'm just going to simply cut her up. Like I said, it doesn't matter how you cut your cabbage, it's going to cook. Okay? I'm going to wash it 1/2 at a time. Go ahead and turn that fire off on those chops. Those chops are done. We're washing our cabbage. Drain as much of that water off as possible. Cabbage makes its own water. Okay, cabbage will always make its own water. So, cut this other half. And I usually like to try and cut in a shredded form. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and drain this one off really well. Now that we have our cabbage all sliced and diced, let's get ready to check on our vegetables. Y'all are just a little close for me. Your mama sound wrong. Smell the aroma of that fresh garlic, that shredded fresh carrot. And we're just gonna go ahead and let these hang out here together. I'm gonna add in a little black pepper. I've added in already a pinch of salt. And we're just, ooh, that smells amazing. Smells like I'm frying bacon. Okay, so I'm gonna position you here, praying that my equipment gives me the chance to finish this video, because she is showing at, she's like, okay, it's time for me an upgrade. Okay, so just allow me to finish. Okay, I am going to go in at this time with this cabbage that I have here already shredded, washed. I do not like my food going through. All right, let's turn the fire up. Excuse me. let's go ahead on and drop this cabbage. Okay. Let me go ahead and rinse this other half of cabbage. By the time I rinse this other half of cabbage, that will have already cooked down enough for me to add in this other half. Okay? Once I get rinse this other half of cabbage. Yes, we're in the world to where we have to wash our vegetables really, really well. We have to wash everything. I don't like when a piece goes in my stove. Yes, it will bother me. Okay, while I have this half of cabbage cooking and this half washing, washed it, draining it now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to season that cabbage there. Why? Because I can season it better when I season it in halves. Okay, so I'm going into this cabbage with a little of chicken bouillon. I'm going in with a little parsley. I am going in with some Italian spices. Going in with a little onion powder, a little garlic powder, a little black pepper, I'm going to add in a little of Lorry's. Lastly, some black pepper. Okay. So that cabbage is cooking. Those pork chops are done. I'm going to get this last other half of cabbage in once this one cooks down. I like to go through and make sure that I don't have a thick core in there. If I do, I leave it. That's my little bite to my vegetable. And I don't cook my vegetables to where they're soft and mushy. Okay, I'm going in with the other half of cabbage. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for this half of cabbage. We're going to season it. A little Italian, a little garlic powder. Just repeating the steps. Okay? Just a little of, when you have that much, might go finish that one on off. And I actually love to have black pepper in my cabbage. So of course we're going to season the top of that with pepper as well. Okay, and there we have it. I have all of my entrees on. I have my garlic roasted potatoes in the oven. I have my pork chops ready, fried, and laid to the side. And I'm just going to go ahead and allow this cabbage. Let's see if I can find a top. Let's see if I can find a top for this cabbage. That would be a blessing. Let's see. Let's see what I have. Won't he do it? Okay, so that's it. We're going to allow this cabbage here to steam, cook down. Those pork chops are ready. Let me have an eye at these potatoes. Oh, yes, those potatoes are cooking. I'm actually going to bring the fire up on those potatoes to a 450. Okay. So I'll be back with you when that cabbage is ready. Those pork chops are ready. That cabbage is on and steaming. That cabbage is on and steaming. Those potatoes are in the oven. And dinner is served. All we have to do now is allow that cabbage to steam on down and cook. Grab a plate and let's dine. Okay, so I'm not going to hold you. I'll be back when that cabbage is ready and those potatoes are out of the oven. I am going to go ahead on and proceed with my cleanup. And I'm going to bring that fire on that cabbage up to like a 4 because I want it to steam. And I am very eager to stir this cabbage so that I can bring the one down from the bottom up to the top. Okay. Just gonna simply give it a light toss, turning it over. You want to be careful because this part you will make a mess. You see how I just turned that over, getting that bottom part to cook down like the rest of this is. And this right here, I'm just going to break it up. I'm going to take this piece and just shred it because I do like that part in my cabbage. Okay? So that's it. She's steaming, she's cooking, and I will be back with you when that cabbage is done. Smells amazing. Does not take it long at all. I'm gonna hit this with a little of olive oil. Just gonna drizzle that cabbage with that olive oil. I'll refill that. Gonna put that top back on, and we're gonna allow her to steam and to cook. Thanks for joining your girl Cooking with Steph. I have completed this cooking tutorial. I have completed this video. I will be back once I bring those potatoes and this cabbage has steamed on down. See you soon.